A pure crystal is what I saw, collective, when I felt the energy behind your reading for this week. By the way, this is for all signs collective reading. Now, we've got the High Priestess and the Ace of Wands reversed. The High Priestess is very spiritual, and that's exactly the vibe I was getting from the crystal. It's like a pure crystal that reflects yourself. Maybe you guys are just working with crystals. Maybe you guys are getting into that because crystals are storage devices for energy. So you can use crystals for all sorts of things. They're like, you store energy into them and they get kind of programmed with that energy so they can be programmed to do things for you. So now here's the other part that I saw. With the Ace of Wands, I got the image of chains and a moose, okay? Now, a moose is a very territorial animal. A moose can be kind of scary. They can just attack and they do a lot of damage, all right? And with the chains, I'm getting a sense of restraining your anger, because Ace of Wands reversed can be misplaced anger, or it can be pent up anger. And especially next to the High Priestess, there's a dynamic of anger versus spirituality, where versus kind of letting the anger flow through you and past you without having it affect you. That's the High Priestess here. So there's a sense of maybe you guys are trying to purge yourself of anger and that kind of energy because it's been going around. You know, people are angry lately and you can feel it in the air. It's been a rough couple of weeks. And I think what we're talking about here is adopting spiritual practices for purification, keeping yourself clear like that crystal, and not letting yourself get angry, not falling into the trap of letting anger be the vibe that you're incorporating in your life, or this week specifically, for sure. And then with the chains, there's also a sense of holding yourself back, right? Like holding off on the anger. You don't want to pent up the anger. You don't want to pent it up. You want to let it flow through and out of you. With the High Priestess, there's also a sense of understanding the anger, kind of like seeing through it. Seeing through it, seeing where it comes from, letting it flow through and by you without being affected by it, taking part of it, taking part of maybe in the anger that's in the atmosphere that is just, you know, it's ambient. You know, don't fall prey to the ambient energy. Maybe you guys could use some protection in your home too. Let's see what else we get on top, actually. Yeah, because look, there could be impulsiveness this week. You could be drawn to the impulsiveness due to pent-up anger this week. All signs, everybody can be prone to doing this week, so don't do that. Because pent-up anger is just going to result in destroying things that don't necessarily need to be destroyed. 10 of Wands is destruction based on impulsiveness. 8 of Wands is doing something impulsive when there's no reason to do that. There's no reason to do that. You can just fall into the vibe, a different vibe. So the sun is a totally different vibe. It's the same vibe as the High Priestess. It's kind of like taking the high road, being very spiritual, and having a center where you're okay no matter what's going on in the world, no matter how pissed off everybody else is. You have a center with the High Priestess. That crystal is your center, and that center is unshakable because it's based off of like your soul. And if your soul is good, then you're good. So don't fall prey to the vibes this week and let the vibes throw you off your center. Everybody. Let's see what we get from the Oracle card. Tell me more about this spread. Tell me more about what's going on with the collective. Wow. Okay, so first we got the ear. I'm gonna pull more cards in a second, but the ear is receptivity. Everyone is very receptive. Everyone's very sensitive. That's what the ear is telling me. And it's like, don't allow, you're very sensitive to energy right now. And if there's a vibe of anger, and there's a vibe of angst, and there's a vibe of territorial, moose energy, be aware that that is the ambient energy. Don't let that affect you and affect the way you behave and act impulsively. Be aware that it's going around. Be aware that you can choose to whether or not to use that energy. Don't let it affect you without putting some choice into. It's like the more aware you are of the energies that are at play around you, the more you can choose to use them or not to your advantage. So be aware that this is what's going around. Okay, let's see what else there is. Oh my God, the staff. Anger. It's more anger. Now, on opposite to that, we have Leo, which is fun. You can take it to a fun place. Like, I don't know, take it out, go boxing, you know, like take up boxing, take up something to get your pent up anger out of your body, because you know it, you don't want to misdirect it. You really don't, and it's a bad week to misdirect anger, because it's just going to be really easy to pick up on those energies and then react based on those energies. Oh, the other thing with Leo is people can be in your face to make you angry with Leo. People can be gloating with Leo. You might have some people saying, I told you so with Leo. And again, that's the energy that's going around. That is, people are saying this to other people this week. So you might be one of the people hearing it. And be prepared, be ready for it, so you don't overreact. You don't act like the moose. Take the high road like the high priestess, and the high priestess also doesn't really react much. The high priestess is pretty quiet. So don't overreact. Basically, don't overreact to people pushing your buttons this week, because part of it's the energy and part of it is the energy pushing them to push your buttons. So don't fall prey to it. Let's get more advice. I feel like I already gave you guys plenty of advice, but let's see if any advice wants to come up. Any other advice here for the collective? Any other advice for the collective? Wow. Not a good week to hang out with family. To Six of Cups, which is kind of weird because Thanksgiving's coming up. But Six of Cups reverse is saying, avoid family and childhood friends. Stick to people who you are friends with right now, contemporaries, your peers, people who you regularly hang out with, Three of Cups. But keep a distance from the people who are like childhood friends, family. Stay away from your brothers and sisters, because maybe they'll push your buttons. Stay away from kids, because maybe the kids will push your buttons this week and you're gonna flip out on them. This is just a good week to keep yourself out of the line of fire for getting your buttons pushed. That's what this is saying. And stick to people who you know are cool, and you see them all the time. They're just chill people. They're not gonna push your buttons like that. Let's see what else we get from the Oracle cards, and then we will close out your reading. All right, anything else? Any last advice here for the collective this week? Any last advice? Any last advice? Okay. And a lot of cards, but all right. All right, the first card that came out here, though, was the bread, which is kind of like saying, if you want to blow off steam, maybe cooking is a good option. You know, something mundane like cooking, and I say blowing off steam because right down here we have Pisces and the volcano. This is blowing off steam in a way that doesn't actually destroy anything. Pisces kind of like diffuses a situation, and then the volcano is right next to it. So it's kind of like saying, you know, like I said, boxing. It's a controlled environment, but in the same way, cooking is a way to blow off steam, blow off pent-up energy in a way that doesn't hurt anybody. And then the mass with Virgo is keeping to ordinary, everyday tasks, focusing on day-to-day stuff, your health, you know, just aesthetics, objects, mundane stuff, and then keeping your real opinions to yourself. Libra, with the key here, is keeping your opinions to yourself and then nurturing yourself at home, keeping your opinions to yourself. And that's a way that you can help purify yourself from the negative environment or the anger or whatever is going around externally in the world, in the atmosphere. That's a way that you can help purify, again, with the crystal from the beginning, yourself, is through even just the act of cooking for yourself too. I think there's something to be said about the energy in that, and then eating the food that you cooked. There's something to be said about the energy that, and I think there is a purifying element there too. But that's what this is saying, is keep to yourself, purify yourself, nurture yourself, and get out any pent-up aggression in your mundane tasks, and don't fall prey to external garbage. All right, guys, collective, that is going to be a reading. If you guys want to find out more about what's going on, check out Patreon. I got a lot of cool stuff on there. I got some love readings and stuff. So I would love it if you guys would show some support. With that, I will see you guys tomorrow or next time.